Have you ever seen a simple comment between two friends who just happen to be famous completely explode into a massive online debate? Well, it happens a lot more than you'd think, and when it does, it tells you so much about the pressures of fame. We're about to dive into a story that does exactly that, and trust me, it's a fascinating one.
It all really comes down to this one question. At what point does a simple private thought, once you share it publicly, cross some invisible line and turn into something else entirely? Let's get into it.
All right, so our story is all about two members of the massive K-pop group Red Velvet, Joy and Wendy. And the whole thing kicks off with Joy, who had recently lost some weight, something fans were already talking about.
So, Joy posts some new photos on Instagram, looking great. And, like any close friend would, her bandmate Wendy pops into the comments. But what she wrote wasn't just a simple, "You look amazing." Oh no. It was a single sentence that would basically light a match and start a massive firestorm online.
This was it. This was the comment. "Don't let even 1 gram disappear," basically asking Joy not to lose any more weight. And, on the surface, it seems like a pretty simple expression of concern from one friend to another. But the reaction online? It was immediate, and the battle lines were drawn instantly.
Okay, so let's break down that first wave of reactions. A pretty big chunk of people were super critical of Wendy for posting this, especially since it was out there for the whole world to see.
The criticism really boiled down to two main things. First, the idea that a topic as sensitive as weight just isn't something you should be discussing in a public Instagram comment section. And second, a lot of people felt that, coming from Wendy, the comment was just deeply hypocritical.
I mean, the argument here was pretty straightforward. This should have been a text message, right? Or a phone call. Anything but a public comment for millions of fans to see and pick apart. The feeling was that it put Joy in a really awkward spot over something incredibly personal.
And this is where that hypocrisy charge really comes into play. This user points out that fans have also been worried about Wendy's own weight for years. So the thinking was, how can she publicly comment on Joy's body when she's been through the exact same kind of public scrutiny herself? But of course, that was only one side of the coin. A huge number of fans immediately rushed to Wendy's defense, arguing that all the critics were completely missing the point. From their point of view, this wasn't some public critique. It was just a friend, who happens to be famous, publicly showing love and concern for another friend. Something people do on social media every single day.
This quote pretty much sums up their whole argument. Supporters weren't seeing this through the lens of celebrity drama. They were seeing it through the much simpler lens of friendship. Just one person telling someone they care about to be healthy and safe.
Now this is where the defense gets really interesting, because they brought in some crucial context. This isn't just any friendship. This is a friendship that was built in the crazy, high-pressure world of K-pop, where both of these women have been judged for their bodies for years.
And this comment just nails that feeling perfectly. The defenders argue that all the critics were ignoring the decade of harassment that both Joy and Wendy have had to put up with over their weight. So from this perspective, Wendy's comment wasn't an act of judgment at all. It was an act of solidarity.
So let's just pause on this for a second. We have the exact same handful of words being interpreted in two completely opposite ways. On one side, it's seen as an inappropriate and hypocritical public call-out. But on the other, it's a heartfelt, knowing expression of care between two friends who get what the other is going through.
Which brings us to the bigger question here. It's just one comment on one Instagram post. So why did it provoke such an intense, massive debate? Well, the answer, as it turns out, lies deep in the unique pressures of the K-pop world.
To really understand why people reacted so strongly, we have to zoom out a little and look at the environment these idols are in every single day. The level of scrutiny over their appearance is just relentless.
Okay, so this context is absolutely crucial. Both Joy and Wendy have a long, very public history with this exact issue. Joy has been criticized in the past for her weight, while at the same time, fans have often worried that Wendy was underweight. They've both even talked about it publicly. So for the fans who followed them for years, this isn't just some random online drama, it's a topic that brings up genuine, intense concern about the well-being of artists they really care about.
So what can we really take away from this whole thing? Well, it's a perfect look at the nearly impossible tightrope that public figures have to walk between their personal lives and their public personas.
Ultimately, this story is a perfect case study. It shows how, in the world of modern celebrity, an interaction that would be completely normal for anyone else, a friend leaving a caring comment, gets put under a microscope and analyzed from every single angle imaginable.
And I want to leave you with this really thoughtful take from one user.
This person admits that the whole thing feels uncomfortably private, but they see a silver lining. The fact that it's all happening out in the open means these vital conversations about health are happening, even if the stage is a little weird.
Which brings us right back to our central question. In an age where every little interaction can be broadcast to millions, how do we, and how do the stars we follow, draw that impossible line between a private act of caring and a public statement? It's a huge question, and there's definitely no easy answer.